Booktube. This is Kelly. Thank you so much for watching my channel, Books I'm Not Reading. I know 2 tag videos in a row is a lot, but I want to catch up a little bit. And yeah, so this is the Bookish A to Z hot or not tag. It actually reminds me of a tag that was going around when I joined Booktube, and I think that was called like the rapid fire book tag. So if you like tags where you're just supposed to, you know, just blurt out answers and not like overthink it, which I'm infamous for overthinking. But it's a lot of fun. So I will, if I can find my version of that, I will link to it down below. But this was created by Greg at Another Bibliophile Reads. And I was tagged by my friend Will Chambers. Thank you so much, Will. So I will link to both of their videos down below. But essentially, it's a list of things, and you're just supposed to say whether it's hot or not without a lot of, you know, extemporaneous explanations. But there will be some of that because it's me, right? So audiobooks. And then another thing I wanted to say is, like, just because something's not hot for me doesn't mean that I think like it shouldn't be hot for other people. Does that make sense? Anyway, okay. Bildungsroman, which is like coming of age stories, I would say hot. Children's books, I wish this was a little more specific. Like, are we talking picture books? Are we talking middle grade books? If we're talking picture books, I would say probably not. And if we're talking middle grade books, I might say hot. But I'm not really sure. Okay, digital, not, although I've never read a book digitally yet, so, but I will, I'm gonna get there. Okay, experimental. Oh God. I'm gonna say hot. Why not? Okay, fantasy. I'll say hot. Graphic novel, hot. Horror, not. Although there are just so many great horror booktubers out there. Inspirational, I would say hot. Journalism, hot. Kitsch, which Greg defines has a popular or sentimental appeal, which is interesting because that's not really what I think of when I think of kitsch. So based on the definition, I would say probably not. I tend to, if something, like one of the things I was nervous about in reading Braiding Sweetgrass is that there was so much hype about the book that I was like, oh, it can never live up to these expectations. But of course it did. But I certainly would never say that this was like a kitsch book. But yeah, like things that are overhyped, I tend to stay away from, unless of course they win the Pulitzer Prize. Library, and this is only my library, I'm gonna say is not hot. But I totally believe in how important libraries are. They are the great equalizer, and they are so vital to communities. So just my library, not so hot. Okay, mystery, hot, yeah. Nonfiction, hot. Omnibus, and again, I'm not quite sure if this is like collections of comics or something. I don't know, but I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say not. Not hot. Poetry is hot, definitely. Quests, when a protagonist goes on a quest, physical or spiritual. I'm gonna say hot. I feel like I'm saying hot to a lot of things. The truth is, like, I'm just pretty open. Like, I'm pretty, there's a lot that I'm I'm interested in, and I'm interested in reading. So, okay. Our romance. Oh, romance. Do we mean romance like this? So I went through a phase when I was younger, and I read a ton of romance. I read a bunch. Probably not a healthy amount. I don't mind a well-written romance, but yeah, like for a few years, every holiday season, every Christmas season, I would buy a Debbie Macomber book. And again, like I have read some Debbie Macomber books in the past that I've enjoyed, but I read one and it was so bad. So I have stopped that annual tradition, I guess, if you will. I like it when the romance isn't maybe the central part of the story. It's like woven in. I'm thinking like Dickens. And I even think Jane Austen's romances are not just, those books are not just about romance. They are about class and money and yeah, a whole slew of things. They're not just, it's not just a love story. S is for science fiction. Okay, so I would currently say not hot, but I would like it to be hot. So we have some Ursula K. Le Guin, so I might try to read one of those this year. Yeah, I just haven't found the right science fiction writer for me. I guess maybe that's what I'm trying to say. I've read some in the past, but it just like when it comes to science fiction and fantasy, like I tend to be more on the fantasy side, I guess I would say. Okay, T is for translation. Books translated from one language to another. I don't particularly like this category because, you know, I want to read great books. And whether they're translated or whether they're not translated, like, it doesn't really matter to me. Like, I'm sure there are books in translation that aren't great. I think it would be a little silly to say that every single book in translation is like gonna be a 5-star read for me. So I'm looking for like good stories, and if you have great books in translation that you want to recommend to me, by all means do. But I don't pay attention to that. Like when there are challenges about like where an author is from or that sort of thing, like lots of times I don't know because I'm just really interested in the story. Like it doesn't matter to me like if the author's from, like, I'm not looking for a specific country that an author's from. Or, even the Irish readathon, it's really tricky for me because I just don't tend to think about that sort of thing when I pick up a book. So yeah, okay. U is for Übermensch, which is the Superman or extraordinary. I guess hot. If the author can pull it off, then I'm in for it. So V is for Victorian, definitely hot. I think we can safely say that on my channel. Okay, W is for Western, and I feel like I have a broader category or broader definition, excuse me, of Western than many people do. I would say like Willa Cather. Why can't she be considered Western? Her books are very much about the landscape, about a place. And so I love, and of course, you guys know I love The Virginian by Owen Wister. So yeah, I'm going to say Western is hot. Okay. In a twist of irony, X is for X-rated, which I'm going to say not hot. That's not what I'm interested in. Y is for young adults. Oh, you know, once upon a time, this would have been really hot for me because it was such a big part of my job, and I really had to be up to date on what was hot in young adult. I think if we merge middle grade and young adult into one, I might be more on the hot side. But I haven't read any new young adult books since the Shadow and Bone trilogy, which I loved the first one, and then I hated the ones that came after that, and I've checked all those out from the library, so I don't own them. I can't show them to you. And then I read the next one, which was like something about crows. I don't know, but I didn't like it. So yeah, I think that was the last YA that I read. So it's been quite a while. Quite a while. I'd like to reread the Hunger Games trilogy. I'm not at all interested in the prequel whatsoever. Not at all interested in that. And then the last one is Zeitgeist. This is a problem with A to Z challenges. It's like you have these weird funky letters and it's like, well, I don't know. So the spirit or the mood of times, again, like, yeah, like, of course. Yes, hot. Like, I mean, again, as long as it's well done, right? I do read the Pulitzer Prize winners every year. So next month we'll be spending a lot of time talking about Demon Copperhead, as if you hadn't heard enough about that on BookTube in the last year or so. Yeah. So those are the really contemporary books or the most contemporary books I read every year. Most of the time I'm reading things that are much older, but anyway. So those are my A to Z hot or not. I have seen so many versions of this tag, so I'm just gonna throw it out there to you. Like, if you want to do this tag, I'm tagging you. And if you don't have a channel and you want to tell me your answers in the comment section, I would love to hear that. If you don't feel comfortable leaving a comment, I mean, you can always leave an emoji, or you can give this video a thumbs up. So let me know what is hot and what is not hot to you. All right, take care, BookTube, and I will talk to you soon. Remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I'll be back with another bookish video. Bye.